Imagine a world where every being walks in tune with their inner knowing, where choices are made not from fear or force, but from presence, intuition, inspiration, joy, and alignment, where bodies are honored as instruments of insight and sensation is seen as sacred, where children grow up learning to trust their gut, to speak their truth, to honor the pulse of the field before the noise of the world. Imagine cities built around resonance, workplaces that honor rhythm and rest, relationships that prioritize deep listening and felt understanding. What would shift in the way we create? What would soften in the way that we lead? What would elevate in the way we love? Let us build this world through the way that we live. Let's start now. Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a Compassion Key, Reiki, and Meditation Master. And in this talk, we're diving deep into the body's subtle intelligence, the original technology encoded into your gut, fascia, and pineal gland. Because the truth is, your body was designed as a living technology, an originary interface for multidimensional knowing. But somewhere along the way, we were taught not to trust the feelings and sensations our body produces, which often accompany the quiet voice inside. We were taught that truth comes from the outside, from experts and authorities, systems, not from within. We began to filter sensation through an externally reinforced feedback structure based in permission and consensus, and through a familial, social, and cultural approval process. A gut feeling would arise, but we'd second guess it or be told, "There's no time for that. Come along now, we'll be late." A body signal would speak, but we'd push it down, override it, or interpret it through someone else's narrative. A subtle knowing would whisper, but we would silence it to look the part, fit in, be loved, to be good, and play along. This happened in layers in school, where the curriculum mattered more than inspired creativity and curiosity. In family systems where love, understanding, and compassion was sometimes withheld due to a parent's unhealed wounds, or if we didn't behave right or meet their expectations. In religion or culture where we were told what was sacred and what was shameful. In early heartbreaks and moments of rejection, when the cost of being ourselves came at too high a price. And your body learned that social grace and doing the right thing mattered more than inner truth. Or maybe you had a sudden burst of joy or creativity, a spontaneous dance, a question, a vision, a bold expression, but someone laughed or told you to calm down, be quiet, don't be weird. And your nervous system began to equate authenticity with inappropriate behavior and rejection. These moments might seem small or insignificant, but all it takes is one potent combination of feeling and timing or context, and deep roots are sent down which start to sprout up distorted patterns of belief and behavior. But now it's safe. We no longer have to twist and translate our inner knowing into something digestible for others. We can now reconnect to the original interface, to instinct, intuition, and sovereignty. In fact, there is a great current of energy calling for you to reconnect, to resensitize, to reattune to the subtle signals, to reclaim your inherent knowing and awaken those subtle technologies encoded within you, wired into your bioenergetic form. The wisdom that channels itself through the sacred system of your body comes through an inner technology designed to perceive, sense, and guide you beyond what thought alone ever could reveal. So let's take a look at this inner technology, certain parts of the interface system, so to speak, that we were born into. Your gut, now more widely known as your second brain, is lined with over 100 million neurons and is connected to your brain by the vagus nerve and is responsible for producing over 90% of your serotonin. The intestinal system is not just a digestive tract, it's more like a metabolic intelligence field. It doesn't simply digest food, it gestates knowing. It metabolizes experience. Long before the mind catches up, the gut already knows. That uneasy feeling, that sinking pull, that sudden wordless, oh no. These are neurologically and biochemically real communications. They are the body speaking truth before the mind translates it into thought. Your gut is constantly scanning for resonance, coherence, and safety. It senses the unseen, tone, intention, presence, and sends signals upward through the vagus line to offer support for or against your choices. But most of us were taught to override that signal, to say yes when the body whispered no, to suppress discomfort in the name of being polite or abiding by a schedule or expectation, to mistrust the sacred knowing inside us and defer to the external authority and power. So the signal diverted itself or got louder through dis-ease or various conditions, symptoms, or disorders. We didn't lose it. We just layered over it and kind of mutated it. We doubted, we dismissed, we disconnected, and the body became an inconvenience, something we have to deal with and medicate or treat so we can continue on with the external focus, disregarding the internal mountain building up of stuff we didn't listen to. But the gut never forgets. It simply converted its voice into various forms of distress and discomfort. When we repress sensations or override the body's clear messages, we don't silence them, we simply bury them deeper. What begins as a stalled movement, a clench, a knowing, eventually congeals into a symptom: pain, fatigue, illness, digestive issues. These are not our body punishing us, they're communications and cries for attention. Your body is not being dramatic or deceptive. It's simply speaking the language that it knows best: sensation. This is where symbolic decoding becomes essential. Your symptoms are not just dysfunctions, but sacred metaphors asking for attention, compassion, and integration. So, what are you not digesting? What have you taken in that isn't truly nourishing you physically, emotionally, or spiritually? When we begin to listen symbolically, we stop trying to fix the body and start learning how to understand it and work with its wisdom through soulful attention. When you begin to rebuild trust with your gut, you first look at the things that are most obvious, where you experience lack of ease or discomfort and ill health, and begin to view them symbolically. Through this, you're not just becoming more intuitive, you're remembering a primordial form of embodied knowing that has always lived in the deep tissues of your very beingness. Tapping into your alchemical anatomy, so to speak. The word intestine shares roots with gestation, a place of holding, forming, and transforming. The gut is your body's gestational chamber of truth. It takes in raw material of sensation. It digests experiences into energy and knowing, into boundary and belonging, and then births a felt sense of yes, no, maybe, wait, now, go. So ask yourself, what does my gut sense before my mind interrupts? Where have I congealed around old signals that no longer serve me? What's been gestating, waiting to be metabolized into forward motion? To reclaim this knowing, you practice listening with your center through breath and stillness, presence, and nourishment. You recalibrate the frequency of your system to hear its own wisdom again. Because the gut is the voice before the voice. And when you hear it clearly, you begin to move differently, choose differently, live in tune with the unspoken intelligence that's been with you all along. Now, let's explore the connective resonance field that is your fascia. Fascia is often described as connective tissue, but that's only the surface of the story. It's actually a living lattice of light and sensation and symbolic memory. The word fascia comes from the Latin fascia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, meaning band, bundle, or binding. From the very first days of embryonic life, fascia forms one of the earliest structural systems, laying down blueprint before bones and muscles or organs take shape. It's the original weaver, the sacred seamstress of form, shaping the body's landscape through a gestural dance of tension and release. This is the very nature of fascia, a web of interconnection, uniting the whole body into a single continuous field of communication. Fascia wraps and interlaces everything, every bone, organ, nerve, and muscle, as a liquid crystalline matrix that both conducts and contains. And for this reason, it's often referred to as the body's communication superhighway, a finely tuned sensorial net that holds memory, sensation, emotion, and even intuition. The fascia can store, transmit, and respond to bioelectric signals, meaning it may act as a semi-conductive interface between the physical and energetic bodies. Science is now showing that fascia transmits vibrational information faster than the nervous system. It is your primary medium of sensation, memory, and frequency. And ancient wisdom knew this long before modern science named it. In Chinese medicine, fascia mirrors the etheric meridians, the chi highways. In yogic systems, it's represented by the nadis, the subtle energy channels, are said to carry prana through the body's innermost currents. In shamanic and esoteric traditions, it is referred to as the luminous energy field, the light grid, the subtle body scaffolding. In Christian mysticism, the body as temple was not just poetic, it acknowledged the divine intricacy woven through flesh and form. Every contraction, every time you held your breath, every instinct you suppressed is stored in this shimmering sheath that wraps your being like a cocoon of memory and pattern. When you feel stuck in your body, frozen, disconnected, or dissociated, there's a good chance your fascia is holding an imprint. And when you feel open, light, and connected, that's your fascia, liquid and alive with resonance. But here's what's being discovered about this collagen, elastin, extracellular matrix of fibers. Fascia does not want to hold your pain. If it hardens, it can soften again. Fascia wants to move. It's designed to be fluid and responsive and self-renewing, given the right conditions. Manual therapies like myofascial release, movement and stretching, especially in spiral motions, hydration with water and mineral-rich liquids, sound and vibration therapy, somatic release practices for trauma and emotion. These are the keys that unlock the somatic memory web that let the old stories stored in the body unravel and be reconditioned with gentleness and ease. When you move with reverence, when you speak softly to the places that ache or tighten, when you let your body tell the truth you've kept quiet, the fascia becomes your antenna for intuition, your channel of alignment, your interface between emotion and energy, matter and memory, time and timelessness. So close your eyes and breathe. And feel for this intelligent, vibrating web and inner listening field that interlaces every muscle, organ, bone, and fiber of your being. This is fascia's design. Strong, not through rigidity, but through flexibility and interconnection. Fascia holds what we cannot name. It translates our lived experience into a flow of cellular communication, vibration, and symbolic sight, and perception that happens in the felt sense. And like the root systems of trees or the mycelial webs of the forest floor, fascia carries messages and memories. It echoes the intelligence of the natural systems alive with knowing. And when we touch the fascia with movement, with sound, with attention, we touch the ancient intelligence of the earth itself, mirrored within our own body. Now, let's discuss the crystalline bridge of sight and signal, the pineal lens. The pineal gland is not just a gland, it's a gateway, a crystalline lens, and a threshold organ between what is seen and what is sensed, between the realm of thought and the realm of vision. The linguistic root of pineal derives from the Latin pinea, meaning pine cone, because the gland itself is shaped like a pine cone. But more symbolically, the pine cone has long been revered as a symbol of spiritual awakening, fertility, and higher consciousness. Throughout ancient traditions, the symbolism of the third eye and the pineal gland appears again and again and again. In Roman and Greek temples, pine cones adorn staffs and sacred structures as emblems of enlightenment and the awakened mind. In Hinduism, the bindi, placed at the forehead center, marks the location of the Ajna chakra, the bindu, or divine point, believed to be the seat of inner sight and expanded perception. Even in Catholic traditions, the Vatican's Pigna, a massive bronze pine cone statue, stands as a nod to the pineal as a portal to the divine. In Egyptian mysticism, the Eye of Horus is perhaps the most direct visual representation of the pineal gland. When overlaid onto a cross-section of the human brain, the Eye of Horus aligns exactly with the positioning and structure of the pineal gland, as well as surrounding neuroanatomy like the thalamus, corpus callosum, and optic channel. The eye was believed to offer protection and healing and intuitive insight, not by looking outward, but by activating the inner eye that perceives truth from within. A biological and energetic transducer of unseen light, the pineal gland has both mystical and biological functions. Biologically, the pineal is responsible for producing melatonin, which governs our circadian rhythm, our sleep, our rest, and repair. But that's just one expression of the pineal's deeper function, to mediate our experience of time, light, and symbolic reality. The gland is filled with piezoelectric crystals. I hope I pronounced that properly. Yes, actual tiny crystals, which are capable of responding to pressure and vibration by generating electrical signals. This makes the pineal not just an organ, but a light-sensitive crystalline transducer capable of sensing both the material and immaterial worlds. It is said in many traditions that when the Kundalini rises and touches the pineal, light flashes within the brain, the veil parts, and inner or higher vision opens. A dimensional translator, the pineal's true signal is always on, but it's often buried underneath layers of disuse, disbelief, and distortion. It clears through stillness, darkness, clean food and water, natural sunlight, meditation and devotion. And it awakens most naturally through trust in your own impressions. Those flickers of insight, image, feeling, dream, or knowing that arise subtly and often unusually. The pineal gland is often called the seat of the soul, a crystalline antenna of subtle perception. It has long been linked to mystical awareness and the capacity to see beyond the seen. But what exactly are we seeing? The third eye does not look outward. It sees through the veil, through the pattern, through the ordinary into the symbolic. This is what Jung called archetypal perception, the recognition that dreams, symptoms, and repeating life patterns are not random, but meaningful symbols arising from the deep unconscious. Stanislav Grof discovered that in expanded states of awareness, people often experience timeless symbols and mythic imagery, visions of birth and death, cosmos, universal themes encoded in the psyche. And Ken Wilber offered us vision logic, a trans-rational intelligence that perceives through metaphor, resonance, and holistic pattern recognition. All of them point to this truth. Symbolic sight is not imaginary. It is a perception that arises through the evolution of the soul. The pineal lens doesn't just reveal mystical visions. It tunes you to the patterns beneath the physical and allows you to see into the energetic and symbolic structure and design of your very life. A chronic pattern, a gut ache, a persistent dream. These aren't just disruptions. They're messages, metaphors, maps, and valuable information. The third eye isn't just here to show you light. It's here to show you truth. And the more you clear the static and open to symbolic perception, the more you begin to see that your life is a map. Your body has its own language, and you are the one who is learning how to read its code. So how do we rebuild this bridge? Through rituals of connection, simple, sacred practices that bring you back into dialogue with your body's signal system. Breath is the great signal restorer. Your breath is your body's first language. So breathe consciously and intentionally. You inhale with presence and exhale safety, whispering to yourself, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm listening. Fascia responds to movement and massage. Fascia thrives on flow and spirals and stretches and sway. So ask your body, where do you need or want space? And then touch or move with reverence, in small circles and slow pressure, whispering, you can soften now, I'm here with you. Your gut wants to be heard and nourished. So before eating, just pause. Place your hand on your belly and ask, what do you truly need right now? This is how we restore trust. The pineal gland responds to light and stillness. So each day, greet the sunrise. Imagine the light seeping into the center of your skull and merging with your pineal gland. In the evenings, when you close your eyes to sleep, embrace the dark. Breathe in the quiet of night. Pause and expand into moments of stillness, saying, I welcome the space of quiet and clarity. I release the residue of overactive thinking, and I allow divine sight. Journaling is a powerful practice that opens a dialogue between the body and the mind. So ask yourself, what do you want me to know today? And let the answer come as images, words, sensations, and then write about it. Mirror work allows you to repair trust. Look into your own eyes, saying, I want to feel you again. I'm learning to listen in a new way. And then let the truth and the true feelings arise. These are all powerful practices which can open a whole new way of being with yourself and in the world. So let's normalize a new kind of intelligence, the intelligence of feeling. Feeling in the body is the original interface speaking. Your emotions aren't irrational noise. They are directional. They carry data. Every emotion has a vibration. Every sensation is a signal. This is your body's ancient, immediate, and highly accurate intelligence system. To hear it, you must slow down. You must stop demanding proof and begin honoring the signals. Tap into the technology of feeling. This is one of the ways that we reclaim sovereignty. When you stop outsourcing knowing to logic and algorithms and external authorities, when you begin choosing based on the felt sense of alignment and resonance and truth, that's when your inner interface starts to clear up and opens up to you. That's when your body becomes a compass for creation, not just a container for experience. You were never meant to live from your mind alone. You were designed to feel your way forward. And feeling, attuned, embodied, resourced feeling, is your highest intelligence. You are being called to reclaim yourself as the seer. You are being reminded of something ancient, as you are also stepping into a higher level of feeling, listening, sensing, and trust. Learning to listen is about believing yourself. Notice the moment you catch the tendency to want to override. Notice the sensation in the body and the flash of intuition. Notice when your body says no or yes, even if your mind disagrees, and pause to honor it. Because this is how we move into a future where embodied wisdom reigns. This is how we reclaim. This is how we return to wholeness and dial back into the awesome, beautiful, and magnificent technology that is the body. Your body is a masterpiece of multidimensional design, a living conduit of consciousness, a bridge between the seen and the unseen, the ancient and the emerging. Every time you slow down to listen, you're recalibrating this interface. Every time you honor a feeling, you strengthen the signal. Every time you choose truth over habit, you're returning to yourself. So pull back the curtains. You have been hiding your intuitive intelligence behind. Your body is the sensing field. You are the original interface, awake and alive, right here, right now. So breathe and soften and allow yourself to imagine a world where more and more of us step back into our intuitive knowing and power. Let this be the beginning of a deeper intimacy with your own truth, a greater tenderness for and attention to your own inner wisdom, and a renewed courage to walk forward as the seer, the sensor, and the signal. You're not alone in this. We are all weaving a new world by remembering and recalibrating our inner signals. So welcome back to the magnificent interface of the human body, and walk forward into a whole new way of being human. If this touched you, please like and subscribe and share it with someone whose knowing is waking up and just needs a nudge to trust it. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time.